All right, welcome back. So today we're going to look at integer division within Java and kind of how that is handled within Java. So with programming languages, you really have integers and you have doubles. Some languages call them floats, decimal numbers essentially. And the programming language looks at those entirely differently from one another, between an integer and a division, or between a decimal number. So let's just go ahead and we're going to make two variables. We're going to call one x, and we'll assign it the value of, let's do 11, okay? And then we're going to do another integer. We're going to call it y, and we'll do that one with 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually go ahead and print these out, but we're going to do a calculation within this. So we're going to just say x divided by y. And if I did this, normally if we would look at this and we would say, oh, well, this is like 5.5, right? But because these are integers, you will not be able to print out a decimal number. In fact, let's go ahead and run this. It's going to end up just printing 5 for us. It'll just drop the 0.5 because this is called integer division. The language is only looking for the integer in this division. So even though we know that it is 0.5 or 5.5, it will drop that 0.5. It just will not display that. Okay. Now, if we wanted to, we could, and we'll kind of show you here how this works. Let's say I had another variable, and we're going to get rid of this here for a second. Oops. All right. So this one's actually going to be a double. Okay, and we'll call this one z. Okay, and this one is going to actually do the same thing as what we did before. We're going to say that x divided by y. Okay, so we have our two variables, x divided by y, which is essentially what we did before, except now we have this variable that's going to be a double, and we're going to print that off. Okay, we're going to print this out here. However, it will print it as a double. You're going to notice, let's go ahead and run this and we'll show you. But because these two numbers were integers, it still will get rid of the 0.5. So it still displays the actual integer numbers, but in a double format, so in a decimal format. Now, if we wanted to, we could, the way to kind of work around this here is we're going to tell it that we're going to actually take 1.0 and multiply that to the division right here. Okay, and if we do that, that will give us, because we're multiplying it by a decimal number, that will give us this. Let's go ahead and run this. And now there's our 5.5. Okay, so this will allow us to take this integer number and essentially make it into a double when we print it. So there's our 5.5. More importantly, it's just to understand the difference between an integer, okay, which is the whole number, and a double, which is a decimal number, okay, and how the programming language handles those when dividing. Okay, all right. Hopefully that helps you with your coding. Kind of a short one here today, but just to understand, if you take two integers, you want to convert it into a double, you're going to have to multiply it by a double there. You could also cast it, which we'll talk about in later videos, and changing those, but we'll talk about that later. All right, hopefully this helps you with your coding, and good luck.